Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome to yet another episode of One Piece Reflections. Today's One Piece Reflections will be about the month of March, as we are now in the final day, and you guys know every final day of a month I always do these reflections. But this month we're going to be talking about 5 specific chapters. Firstly is chapter 896, One Last Wish, or The Last Wish, or whatever, or One Last Thing if you're going by the Viz official title. And in this chapter, we see the final moments of Katakuri versus Luffy. And they each land their respective blows on one another, such as, what was it? Katakuri's attack, it was his Diced Mochi Slayer versus Luffy's Gear 4 Snake Man form, Black Mamba. And they both land their attacks on one another, and it's the final hit. It's the final hit before they succumb to each other's attacks. Luffy's attacks hits Katakuri and it knocks him back, and Katakuri's attack knocks Luffy into a crater into the ground. And it's sort of left ambiguous after this because it cuts to the citizens such as Big Oven, Charlotte Oven, and his crew, and all the people that are outside the mirror world, the one singular mirror on Kako Island, are all contemplating if Luffy's actually able to defeat Katakuri. And as all this is going on, we cut back to the battle once again. Not only that, but another thing is Sanji is in an alleyway listening to all this along with Pudding, and he's contemplating how he's just going to get out of there with Luffy. And all the while, he's saying to Pudding, I'm thankful that I was engaged to you, and yada yada. And then Pudding has one final request for Sanji, and she takes the cigarette out of his mouth. I'm still going by my theory that she kisses him, because that seems like the most logical thing. I wouldn't put it past Oda for it to be something else that happens. But I'm thinking that Sanji gets his first kiss from Pudding in this chapter. Then we cut back to both Luffy and Katakuri. Luffy gets up from his injury, and Katakuri is like kind of unconscious as Luffy crawls out of the crater. But Katakuri is standing up, looming over him. And they're both breathing hard. Luffy, especially since he uses Gear 4 form, we all know how big those drawbacks are, especially with each recurrent form that he has. So Katakuri looks at him, and then he says, are you really going to come back and defeat Big Mom? It is in this sentence that we realize that Katakuri has, I would say, that Katakuri has seen his own defeat and is just asking him if Luffy's going to come back and beat Big Mom. And Luffy says, of course I am. I'm going to be the Pirate King. And then after that, a little blood comes out of the wound in Katakuri's chest. And then before that, Katakuri says, wow, you really can see into the future. And he falls over unconscious, thus ending the long battle between Luffy and Charlotte Katakuri. And in this moment, we see his honorable side of Luffy, because as he's passing over Katakuri, he takes the extra hat he had on his straw hat and covers up Katakuri's face once again. Because in a couple of chapters ago, Katakuri completely foregone his ideals of keeping his face covered up, and just for the sake of fighting Luffy, he saw him as an opponent worth fighting and worth just shedding all of his ideals, all of his quirks, just to solely fight him. So Luffy in that moment recovers his face, because now Luffy sees that, well, we're no longer fighting each other at this time. And so you no longer need to keep your morals. You no longer need to suppress your morals, and I'll just cover up your face so you can regain some of your dignity that you've had. Or something along those lines. I just felt it was very honorable for Luffy to cover his face back up, so now you don't have to cover your face anymore because our fight's over. So after all that is happening, Luffy is making his way out, and then we get a surprise appearance from Peckham's, who goes by the name of either Mysterums or Nazums, whichever translation you want to go by. He has Brule in tow, and he says that he's fully prepared to help Luffy. And he says that he'll do it in what was it? Was it in the memory of Pedro? Or Pedro had so much faith in you guys, so for Pedro, I'm gonna help you guys out. And that pretty much ends the chapter, but everyone outside of the mirror world is preparing for Luffy to come out, because they have absolutely no idea what's been going on in the mirror world at this time. So you have Luffy beating Katakuri, you have the crew outside the mirror world preparing to kill Luffy. You have Sanji in an alleyway on Kako Island as well, waiting for Luffy to come out in order for them to leave. You have Peckham's inside the mirror world, having Brule in tow, prepared to get Luffy out of the mirror world. And you have Pudding with that one last wish that we still don't know what it is, but I'm pretty sure in later chapters, maybe somewhere even in Wano, that we'll see what it is. Or maybe it'll be at the very end of this arc. But that's it for 896. In the next chapter, we have pretty much, it says 4 minutes before the rendezvous time, and you have the Thousand Sunny visible outside of Kako Island, and then Peckham's is preparing to use the Sulong form in order to aid Luffy in getting out of the mirror world, because he also tells us that his Sulong form is uncontrollable. He can't even control it. The only person who was ever capable of calming him down in his Sulong mink form was Pedro, and Pedro is dead. So that means that he's pretty much gonna go berserk as soon as he goes out there. And of course, Luffy manages to hide inside of his mane as he goes into his Sulong form. Then a short skirmish ensues as Peckham's finds himself jumping out of the mirror with Brule and starts attacking everybody. Or at least, in that one panel, he has Brule at gunpoint, threatening to kill her if they don't stay out of his way. And all this is going on, and I'm just looking at a brief synopsis here so we can get through this quickly. And even though there's a short skirmish, he's quickly overwhelmed. And then Luffy is tossed offside, and then Sanji comes in and saves Luffy. And all the while, the Charlotte forces and the Big Mom Pirates are all trying to gouge out Peckham's eyes so that he can never use his Sulong form again. Because the Sulong form is very dangerous for the pirates, as we've seen when Carrot used it. So they're trying to gouge out his eyes and are hurting Peckham's, all the while Sanji takes Luffy and starts to run. And Sanji and Luffy are met with opposition at every turn as they try to get away, and they're surrounded. They keep getting knocked into the ground. They keep getting shot down, whipped down. It just injured in everything. But then we have and then not only that, you have, I'm just looking at this synopsis real quick. You have the Sunny coming up towards Kako Island, but it's blocked by a blockade. And then it would seem like they're not going to be able to get, the Thousand Sunny is not going to be able to get to Kako Island, but all of a sudden a big portion of the blockade is destroyed by none other than the Germa 66, who at this point the Charlotte kids thought that the Charlotte family thought that they were done in by their own forces, but we all know that they were quickly wiped out by Ichiji, Reiju, Yonji, and Niji. Ichiji, Niji, Yonji, Reiju. Yeah. And wiped out by all of them, so they made their way back. And it would seem, Sanji would think that, you would think that they came back to save their brother, but I think it was, who was it? Ichiji. It was Ichiji who says that we didn't come back here to save you. We just wanted to get our own little payback on the Big Mom Pirates. And so you have this one big, gloriously smooth looking panel of the Vinsmoke family just standing around Sanji protecting him. And it was like, yo, this family is awesome. Even though they said they didn't come back to save their brother, they actually came back to fight the Big Mom Pirates. So now Sanji at that point had some protection, as that's pretty much the end of the chapter. Then we have the next chapter. Wait, did I say what it was? Peckham's Kako Island escape plan. Yeah, okay, so the last chapter was Peckham's Kako Island escape plan, chapter 897. In the next chapter, chapter 898, it's called I Will Return, or I Promise I'll Be There. And one thing about the previous chapter, chapter 897, on the cover page we have the Harudin's giant pirates. I did not notice until recently that the big pirate Stanzin is also the exact same giant that was with Rayleigh during the escape of the Sabaody Archipelago arc. I had no idea that that was him until recently. It's just that he looks so different. He's got like, he's completely covered in clothes. Like, remember, he only had that small little hat, like a little stubbled beard and mustache, and he didn't have a shirt. He just had pants, no shoes. I never knew that it was this guy up until now, so he's drastically changed since the time skip. But moving on to I Promise I'll Be There / Viz manga title, I Will Return. In this moment, we see the Germa kids defend Sanji. Everyone that has hurt Sanji and Luffy is now being handled individually by the Charlotte kids. By the Vinsmoke family. I'm sorry. So much information. But then they're all defending Sanji so that Sanji is able to get out. And we see their special moves. We see sparking something. Oh, I forget the names. Moving on. But we see the Vinsmoke family defend Sanji as they make their way outside. But it's not until Brûlé tearfully and emotionally cries out loud that the once perfect son of the Charlotte family, the strongest person underneath Big Mom, was defeated by Luffy. And it is in this moment that it's met by disbelief and absolute outrage by all of the Big Mom pirates, because no one ever thought that Katakuri, of all people in the Big Mom pirate army, would ever be defeated. He had such a high reputation, such high power, that no one thought that he would ever be defeated. And especially with his seeing into the future style observation haki, no one ever thought that he was going to be able to be defeated by someone like Luffy, or in general, just defeated in general. So everyone is just twice as determined to take down Luffy and kill him now. And all the while, we have the Vinsmoke family defending Sanji from all the people that injured him before, and they're making their way closer and closer to the shoreline, and it would look like things are going very smoothly, but we all know that things tend to go, it seems like everything is working out just fine, and they manage to get the Germa ship, the Germa Castle Fortress ship, in between the blockade and the opening that they made, because the Vinsmoke family pretty much made an opening for them to get through there. And the Germa Fortress ship is sitting there right in front of the opening of the Kako Island town, where Sanji gets a boost in speed. I forget which Vinsmoke person it was who gave him that speed boost to just shoot out of the city. All the Big Mom pirates are doing their best to try and keep them in the town or keep them from escaping, but the Vinsmoke family ain't having it. So as they get out to sea, it may seem like Sanji and Luffy are like in the clear, as everyone on the Sunny sees Sanji, and it's all like, yay, he's got Luffy, everything is fine. And that's where the chapter ends. And it would seem like everything is going fine. And I had a feeling like something bad was going to happen, because everything seemed like it was moving too smoothly at the end of that chapter. But in the next chapter, it's called The Final Fortress. I'm going by the Viz titles now, so I hope you guys don't mind. It is in this chapter that the Fire Tank Pirates, at this point, still have the cake, and they drop it off at Puff's Island. And all the denizens of the island are running away, because as we've seen, Big Mom is not in her right mind right now. She is so focused on getting this cake. And as this is happening, everyone is anxious to see what's going to happen, especially Pedals. Pedals thinks that if the cake is poisoned, but it's good, then Mama will enjoy it, but she'll die from the poison. If the cake isn't poisoned and the cake is bad, then she'll either die from the poison or just completely go on a rampage. And if the cake is not poisoned, but the cake is good, then she'll love it. But even then, we still don't know what the outcome will be. Now, mind you, all this is happening for the Tank Pirates, and the Fire Tank Pirates just run. They get away. They start to get away. And then as Sanji and Luffy land on the Sunny, it would seem like they're all surrounded by the Big Mom pirates at this point. And there's so much going on. There's so much going on. The next chapter that happens is a bombshell. I'm just anxious to get to it. But we see Sanji and Luffy finally make it to the Sunny, and everything seems to be going just fine. They get surrounded by the Big Mom pirates, but they are then saved by the interventions of Jinbei's Sun Pirate crew. We see Waratsumi burst out of the ocean, and you see all the rest of the Fishmen pirates. They all use their Fishmen strength to push a lot of the ships that are in the direct path of the Sunny getting out. They see them push it aside, and it's just like an opening that they can go through. This one chapter just made me think of the moment where all the commanders of Whitebeard's crew cleared a path for Luffy to get up to the execution platform. I know I said this in yesterday's chapter, but it just reminded me of that moment. How another crew did everything they could to make sure that Luffy and his crew could make it out alive. Sure, it was only Luffy at the Marineford War, but that you see that parallel there. So, as this happens, it would seem that the crew of the Sun Pirates and the Germa are helping them escape. And at this moment, we also see Judge, who is pretty much wondering, why did you come to rescue this worthless failure? Where all he does is, all he has is his penchant for cooking, his willingness to show emotion, and he's not even super strong like my kids. Why would you come back for this worthless waste of space? Luffy ignores it and just says, thank you for your help. And Judge is wondering, like, did you not hear me? Why are you coming back for him? At least answer my question. And they're just ignoring, and Luffy's just ignoring him as they're escaping. The Sun Pirates aid in their escape, and it seems like everything is going fine. Until the next chapter. And this was the previous one I just did was chapter 899, the Final Fortress. The next chapter, chapter 900. Yesterday's chapter and the final chapter in the month of March, called The Bad End Musical. Wow, what a chapter. It was something else. And I actually gave it a lower score than it actually deserved. I should have gave it a higher score because it was a really good chapter. And I actually went back and read it again. It was like one of the best chapters that I've read in a while. Not since the Luffy versus Katakuri, the final Luffy versus Katakuri chapter. I thought this chapter was amazing. But in this chapter, Big Mom finally eats the cake. And it is completely crazy. She's eating this cake, and not even that. Oven sees the Big Mom pirates, not the Big Mom pirates, but Oven sees the Sun Pirates trying to aid. I'm getting off topic here because the more I want to talk about this chapter, the more scatterbrained my thoughts of this chapter become. I do apologize. But we see Chiffon on the Nostrello, and she's thinking, well, it is Nostrello, right? I'm probably butchering that name. We see Chiffon just staring off at Big Mom as she's preparing to eat this cake, wondering what's going to happen. And she's flashing back to the thoughts of Sanji, of being amazed at how Sanji is so good at cooking, and she's just wondering how all this is gonna turn out. Big Mom starts to eat this cake, and Big Mom just loses it. She's in complete bliss as she eats this cake because it sends her mind all those years ago back to when she first turned 6 years old. And she had those giant cakes, those croquembouche, if you will. And it was just like the croquembouche back all those years ago. And she's just picturing her 6th birthday where all the kids from the sheep's house and Mother Caramel is there. And it's also that same moment where she kind of ate everybody on her 6th birthday and also gained her soul powers as well. Just eating this cake just reminds her of that birthday that she had. And at the same time, she's reminiscing over her ideals of an ideal country, a place where no matter what race you are, you're always welcome. It doesn't matter if you're a human or a mink or a different type of creature or a fish man, you're welcome in this place where no one can ever feel rejected. But if you try to leave, then you're dead. You're killed. Because once you're there at Totland, you can never leave. And as this is happening, we see Oven use his powers to literally boil the ocean to the point where it's injuring every single fishman in the ocean, including Wadatsumi. And Wadatsumi is enormous. But Oven uses his powers to boil the ocean and pretty much injure all the Sun Pirates there in the ocean. Then you have some of the Big Mom pirates on Kako Island get some anti-Germa bullets, who then use Gatling guns and other methods to injure Ichiji, Niji, Yonji, and Reiju, all on the island. So the Germa are getting butchered. They're not dead, but they're bloodied and hurt. And then the Sun Pirates are getting cooked fish right there. And then you have the Sunny, which is trying to sail away, but they come head first into Big Mom's very own homie ship, the Chantier or the Chanterre. And all this is happening while Big Mom is just thinking about her ideals of a perfect world. Her perfect world. And so many things are happening in this chapter, and then it ends with the panel of this, what looks like the Sunny is being blown up. And the final panel is just Big Mom just smiling, grinning ear to ear, saying thank you for the meal, as you see the Jolly Roger of the Sunny just laying on the ocean in tatters, just destroyed, leaving the fate of the Straw Hats at this point ambiguous. So this chapter was completely mind-blowing because it makes it appear like Luffy, Nami, Chopper, Brook, Sanji, Jinbei, Carrot, and who else am I missing? I think that's everybody on the ship. Luffy, Nami, Sanji, Carrot, Chopper, Brook, and Jinbei are all on the ship right now, and it would seem like they're all dead, like they've been destroyed, while Big Mom is just enjoying herself on the cake that Sanji just cooked up in order to appease her. Every single venue of escape that the Straw Hats have seen at this point has been utterly destroyed. Sun Pirates roasted alive. Germa being blown up by Daifuku and Smoothie and the rest of the blockade, and being shot up, and the Vinsmoke family being shot up by the anti-Germa candy bullets that they have in order to actually injure them. Because as we seen, Pudding, when she was in her feelings, was shot Reiju in the leg with a special type of candy bullet that is able to surpass the modified body structure of the Vinsmokes. So every venue of escape that we've seen for the Straw Hats, every joyful escape, possible feeling of escape for them, just appears to have been shattered at this point. So we have no idea of knowing if the Straw Hats are alive. And this is still in the Whole Cake Island. We still got Wano. We don't know what to think right now. I don't know what to think. And we go on break next week. Pardon me. But overall, I would like to say that of the 5 chapters that we got in this month, of the month of March, it went from from the explosive finale of Luffy and Katakuri's fight. Then we have the moment where Luffy and Sanji are trying to get away from everybody, and we have other people coming in to aid them. We have the Germa coming in to aid them, the Sun Pirates coming in to aid them, and we have even Peckham's going into a Sulong form, which is uncontrollable because he's able to attack random people at this point coming in to aid them. And then it would seem like everything is going fine. And then we have Big Mom currently, and she's not even nowhere near anybody else at this point. She's by herself on the Puff Island eating this cake, while everyone else is pretty much doing the majority of the damage to the Straw Hats and the Vinsmokes and the Sun Pirates right now. But it went from an explosive finale to Luffy and Sanji trying to escape, then them getting aided by the Sun Pirates and the Vinsmokes, and then it gets to the point where everyone that has pretty much helped them is either being severely injured, burned alive, boiled alive, blown up, or shot up. And then it would seem like the Straw Hats themselves and even the Sunny is destroyed just as Big Mom's ship comes in. It went from like 20 to 100 in the span of 5 chapters. I don't know what is going on right now. I mean, I don't know what to think about the Straw Hat Pirates at this point in time. I don't know whether they're alive or not, or how they could be alive. Oda's got to pull... I'm not saying that he'll pull something out of his hat, but I'm just saying that there's got to be... It has to be... I don't know what to think because of this last chapter. I don't know whether to think that One Piece is over. I highly doubt it because we're getting Wano. But I don't know what is going to happen after this. I don't know what the consequences are going to be after this. Because even if the Straw Hats escape, we still have to think about the repercussions of all the events that have transpired here since we've gotten to Whole Cake Island. I mean, all of their top fighters have been beaten. Except for Smoothie. Because Snack doesn't count towards the overall count because he got beat by Magma Urouge. But Katakuri and Cracker have been beaten by Luffy. The only commander who's left is Smoothie. And we don't even know what her power is. Except for she can wring herself out and somehow make herself large. So maybe like an absorbent sponge cake type ability. Because as we know, all the commanders have food-based abilities. So maybe she's like a sponge cake. So she can wring herself out like a sponge, but expand like a sponge, maybe? I don't know. I'm just thinking because this last chapter has got me confused right now. But let me know what you thought about all these chapters as a whole. I'm sorry I carried this on a little bit long, but the final chapter that we got, chapter 900, has got me confused right now. I don't know. But let me know what you thought about all these chapters as a whole. Let me know what you thought of, like, all the things that have transpired so far. Did you like the majority of the chapters? Did you hate it? I know some people, I had a live stream yesterday, some people say that they hated this chapter because of the fate that it just literally left the fate of the Straw Hats on quite possibly the biggest cliffhanger I've ever seen. And just let me know what you thought. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves. I cannot wait to see you in the next video. So once again, have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples.